Shalom Akim, Yahweh, Ba'Shem, Yahushai, Ba'Shem, Kakadash, double honors and salutations to the elders and apostles of Grimm's doing rule well, and to the Akim around the four corners of the earth, preaching the gospel for Mashiach Yahushai in sincerity and truth and diligence of mind. Yeah, so you see, you hear about the drama over there in France. They claim that someone slapped the so-called prime minister. But you know how it is, man. You can't really believe what you see on camera. All right, it looks staged. All right, that's the reason why you gotta put your trust in Lord Hamashiach Yahushai, that you don't fall for the okie doke, man. Because there's so much going on with these so-called government officials that they always want to create events or scenarios for them to look like victims. All right, so. Eventually, man, all this lies and fake news we have to go because, the days is almost over, all right? That time of rulership is almost over, all right? So I'm going to read from the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15, all right? 2nd Ezra chapter 15, verse 16, all right? It clearly tells you that the people are not going to have any respect for their so-called rulers because of all the injustices and on oppression. All right. Second Ezra chapter 15 verse 16. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. All right. So there's not going to be unity. It's going to be total chaos. All right. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Yep. So they're going to be struggling for power, man. The rulers, the so-called government officials, they want to stay in charge. But the people are not going to allow them to, because the people want to have a say. So, and it's just going to create and a never-ending tension, man. They're going to be going after each other, man. So it doesn't really matter who strikes first. The Lord is going to open up the floodgates for them to go against each other. So as the cops and soldiers are raiding people's homes, looking for insurrectionists and what you call them, insurgents, is going to be happening on the same level too, man. People will be looking for government officials. They're going to be looking for senators and congressmen and prime ministers, judges, superintendents of police, sergeants, commanders, lieutenants, police officers, you name it, probation officers. Everything, man, is going to be on the table because when things get ugly, man, it's going to get messed up, just like what happened in Syria, what happened in Iraq. People's families start getting kidnapped for ransom. That's the way society is going towards very soon, man. All right. And now they're talking about ransomware. Very soon, people are going to be held for ransom, man. And it's not going to be funny anymore, man. Because there's going to be blood in the streets, okay? Because the people don't want to go along with the government, and the government don't want to listen to what the people have to say. So another precept will be from the book of Proverbs chapter 29. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 14. And it reads, it says, the king that faithfully judgeth the poor, his throne shall be established forever. Yeah, and that's righteousness right there. But in Esau's case, it's not going to happen because the Lord has already numbered his days, all right, to expire very soon. And that's the reason why they're pulling out all types of gimmicks, man, to generate consent of the people to stay in power. And it's not going to work, man. They're just going to go out desperately with a bang. All right. So I'll play the clip real quick.
Allez, venez là. Un petit coup. Oula. Ah non, ils sont cons, quoi. Oh, ah non, non, mais...
You could tell it looked all staged, man. Because when you watch the video, furthermore, those the guy that they say hit the so-called Prime Minister of France, he was being interviewed initially. So it's all hilarious, man. To what extent these so-called elites will go to generate sympathy and try to create a narrative, all right, to cling on to power.
N'importe quoi. N'importe quoi. Ah, c'est une honte, oui. Oh, mais ils sont marteaux. Venez là, nous on ne veut pas du mal. On veut pas du mal. Monsieur Macron, une photo, on ne veut pas du mal.
Merci, et je vous en remercie. Faisant suite à l'agression dont a été victime le président de la République, simplement pour indiquer à la représentation nationale, j'en suis sûr tout à fait solidaire, qu'à travers...
So stand corrected, that's the Prime Minister, so Macron is the President. It doesn't really matter, man. They're all the same, they're all going down, and, they're all on the take, all right? These are the so-called lapdogs for the elites. The reason why you have all these so-called mandates is because of the puppets in place. And ultimately, it's just the Lord, showing us who's who in these last days and times. Because when all hell breaks loose, man, the people already know who to go after.
Le chef de l'État, c'est tout simplement la démocratie qui est visée. La démocratie. Yeah,
that's the excuse I always like to give. Democracy. Democracy. They're nervous. They're not sleeping well because they know troubles on the horizon. And these are the same people that are going to go into hiding very soon when all hell breaks loose, man. When the people are starving and they're tired of all the gimmicks and oppression, and the people are looking for the government officials to hold accountable for the death of their loved ones that's gonna suffer from this jab scene. So it's gonna be chaotic, man.
Mesdames et messieurs les députés, la démocratie, et vous en êtes l'illustration, c'est le débat, c'est le dialogue, c'est la confrontation d'idées, c'est l'expression de des...
Yeah, the same government that wants to pass trying to pass legislation to prevent people from recording police. The same government that said that women cannot wear scarves or hijab on their head. So that's how messed up ISO society is, and the Mossad is just going to keep putting stumbling blocks in front of these puppets, man. So the book of Baruch, chapter 4, I'm going to read from verse 32 to verse 35. It says that miserable are the cities which thy children served. So France, they held Israelites captive too, not just of the southern kingdom, but also of the northern kingdom, all right? Miserable are the cities which thy children served. Miserable is she that received thy sons. So all the wealth that France has been siphoning from the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, the Lord has to destroy this elite for that, man. These French elites, they're going to lose power very soon when the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai reveals his presence in the heavens, all right? And then it says, for as she rejoiced at thy ruin and was glad of thy fall, so shall she be grieved for her own desolation, all right? And to sum it up, the dragon's got to go. The red dragon with the 7 heads and 10 horns. Yeah, they've held our people hostage, man. The northern and southern kingdom, they've held them hostage for hundreds of years. And the Lord Hamashiach Yahushai has to destroy the EU and NATO and all their so-called, allies, all right? and they're about to be crushed very soon. Okay, and then verse 34 says, "For I will take away the rejoicing of her great multitude, and her pride shall be turned into mourning." So all these so-called government officials that are enjoying their so-called cozy jobs and all the connections they use to make money and rule over the people, the Lord is going to crush all that, man. So don't be surprised when you see these so-called ministers and what you call them, ambassadors of these heathens. They're breaking rocks in the kingdom, to build up, to build whatever we tell them to build, man. All right. So don't be surprised, man, when you see them in shackles and chains and all that, and they're looking all depressed and sad, and walking around like failures.
Accord légitime, bien entendu, mais ça ne peut en aucun cas être la violence, l'agression verbale et encore moins l'agression physique.
Yeah, but it's the same people that will never stand up for the oppressed, man. All they care about is just their own their own purse. All right. So the book of Sirach, chapter 30, verse 24. It reads that envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth age before the time. So as these Edomites have always been envious of our people, the nation of Israel, of the so-called Negroes, of the so-called Latinos, and the so-called Native Americans, the Most High has caused that, to be a valid reason for them to shorten their rulership, man. All right? Sirach chapter 30, verse 24, envy and wrath shorten the life, and carefulness bringeth age before the time. So they're always scheming on how to hold our people down and destroy our people. You hear about what they're saying concerning the job scene, that minorities are the least likely, to benefit from these medical programs that they put forward. That it's important that that we make them a part of it. That we put them on the front lines of receiving the aid and supplies and all that stuff, and then you just look at them and just say, wow, really? After all these centuries, all of a sudden, the children of Israel are a top priority. So you just laugh, man, and just, shake your head and keep on reading the scriptures, all right? And then final precept will be from the book of Amos, chapter 1, verse 11. It reads, some of verse 10, Amos chapter 1, verse 10. But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. All right. So the EU got to pay, man. The EU's got to pay. The children of Edom has to pay. Okay, it's that clear according to the scriptures. All right. The Lord said He will not turn away the punishment thereof. So the Lord is not going to stop the judgment that He's going to bring against its Edomites, man, upon the face of the earth. All right, because they benefited of the downfall of our people. All right, the nation of Israel. Okay, and it says, because he did pursue his brother with a sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. All right, it says, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever. And that's the valid reason why these Edomites have to be taken out of power, man. So it doesn't matter how many videos they try to shut down, or they like to label brothers as domestic terrorists and all that. It doesn't change the judgment that the Lord is bringing upon them. All right, so they could fake all the so-called attacks that they say people's waging against them. That doesn't change anything, man, because the time of rulership is almost over, and there's nothing they can do about it. So that's the point there, Akim Albaratazar, man. We continue to see more judgments of the Lord go forth throughout the whole earth, because that's the time we're living in. Shalom.